Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother Canada 8 updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is Angel Gordon. Angel, thank you so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we really do appreciate it. And if you guys want to be house guest of the day like Angel, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Oh my lord. It has been a wild 24 hours of feeds. Woo! Okay, so when we left off yesterday, it's Michael versus Brooke on the block, and it was looking like there could potentially be enough votes for Michael to flip this bitch and stay. You just gotta see how the campaigning goes, because remember, you need 6 votes to tie this week and 7 to just stay outright. So the evictors are trying to get the votes together, and they already have 3 built in with Maddie, John Luke, and Rianne. So Hira was talking to Michael and Maddie, and it sounds like he's on board to keep Michael. He says he's going with his gut, and he's really pissed that Chris used him as a pawn this week and kept him in the dark the whole time. That's pretty bad. Usually if you're going to use someone as a pawn, you should, tell them what's going on so that they'll trust you, but Chris did not do that. So now Hira is ready to flip this thing upside down and create some chaos. But Maddie's also all excited because Kyle told her, if you can get 6 votes, I will be the 7th. I will be the swing vote. Yeah, okay. So Michael says, that's BS, because Kyle told me before I was even on the block that I would have his vote if Chris, for some reason, put me up. So now he's saying, I'll vote for you if you have 6 other votes. That's crap. And he did say that. I remember him I believe it was in the Have Not room, promising Michael, if you go up on the block, I'll vote for you to stay. So he's like, all right, obviously we got to take anything Kyle says with a grain of salt. We can't trust him. They all agree. They see what Kyle is doing, manipulating people. He's got all these minions running around the house working for him, and they want to take him out. So Hira agrees to help work on some votes for Michael. He's going to talk to Ming Lee. He's going to talk to Angie. He's going to talk to Carol. So what do you know? Hira talks to Carol and Angie in the bathroom area. So Hira says, we will be in a great spot if we flip the vote this week to keep Michael, because we will be in between 2 groups that are targeting each other. They're not going to come after us. They're going to go after each other first. So we could just sit back and let them take each other out, which is a good point, right? So he says, actually, they're all talking about how they want to take out Kyle. And Carol especially is saying, you know what, this is personal now. She is really pissed about that comment that Kyle made behind her back about wanting to throw her bag over the balcony when she was thinking about quitting. Because he was all nice to her face, but then she finds out he's saying stuff like that. So, yeah, she's pissed about it, and she's not letting it go. So then Rianne talked to Carol and Angie next. I gotta say, Carol and Angie, super popular this week. Their vote's actually important. So they tell Rianne, we feel like nobody really values us in the game at this point. They haven't had a use for us yet. And Rianne says, I want you guys to know I do value you. Scoop them up, it's time. They are ready to be scooped. So Carol says, I've really been thinking about how people treated me in my moment of weakness, aka when she was thinking about quitting. And she admits, yeah, I guess I play personally. That is going to have an effect on my decisions moving forward. And Mike was very nice to me when I was upset. So Rianne says, I'll be voting for Mike to stay no matter what. So Carol's asking Rianne about the numbers. Who does he have? And Rianne says, I think we could have 7. We could actually make this thing happen. So Rianne lets Carol and Angie know, if I win HOH next week, I would not put either of you up on the block. And if you stick with us and vote to keep Michael, we're straighter shooters than the other side. She's saying the evictors are straighter shooters. And Carol says, yeah, I'm starting to see that. So, whoa. Eventually, Rianne and Carol chat alone. And Carol's like, I just want you to know, a lot of people share information with me because they don't see me as a threat and they feel like they can open up to me. So I want you to know you should probably go talk to Vanessa. because, yeah, a lot of people think that Vanessa is close to Kyle, but she sees what Kyle's doing, and she's not a dummy, so you should probably talk to her. So it seems like Carol could definitely be on board to keep Michael this week, and Angie, who freaking knows what Angie's actually thinking? Angie is definitely, like, truly in the middle. I guess she would go with the majority. So Ming Lee was chatting with Michael and Maddie, and she says, I'm leaning towards keeping you, Michael, but I don't want it to blow up in my face. She says, yes, I'm close to Brooke on a personal level, but I know that I have to separate personal and game. So they're excited to hear this, but then Min checks in with Jamar, and she says, okay, listen, our number one goal is to get Kyle out. So this week we let everyone scramble, we're going to wait it out and decide what we're going to do at the last minute, and we're going to make our decision based on whatever helps us more to get Kyle out, like, next week if possible. So I guess we're really in for some Waffle Wednesday, huh? Or some Trixie Thursday? I don't even know. So Carol fills Vanessa in on what's going on. And she says, okay, these are the conversations I've been having. Hira wants to flip. Not sure where Angie actually stands. So there's a lot of talk about potentially keeping Michael this week. And Vanessa's like, that's weird. Nobody's really campaigned to me. Yeah, because they all think that you're working with Kyle. So, and she is. So they agree that Kyle is kind of dead in the water right now. A lot of people are onto his game and want him out. And Vanessa does not want to go down with the ship. So Carol says, when I was talking to Rianne, I was trying to make sure that your name is being separated from Kyle's in people's minds. I told her you're not as close to Kyle as everyone thinks. And Vanessa's like, thank you. I appreciate that. And then, back to this week's vote, Carol says, Brooke hasn't really talked team with me. And Vanessa agrees. They're supposed to be kind of aligned with her, but I don't think they've really spent that much time talking game. So then Michael comes in and campaigns to both of them. And Vanessa, is trying to distance herself from Kyle. She doesn't want people thinking that they're working together. So Michael confirms, if I win HOH next week, I would not be targeting you. He says, I would be targeting Chris. It just doesn't make sense for me to go after you. Like, why would I do that? So he says, again, I will be loyal to the people who vote to keep me. So after that, Michael and Carol chat alone, and she pretty much says that she's on board. So that's like, okay, the three evictors, plus Carol, plus Hira, plus possibly Angie is 6, and then Ming Lee was saying, like, yes, but, like, I don't know, which would be 7, but I don't know. It looks like there is hope for Michael at this point. Where's Brooke at right now? She thinks that she's got the votes to stay. And Suzanne is saying, you know what, the votes are going to be 9-3 with you staying. And Brooke says, yeah, I think Rianne might even vote for me to stay because she's not going to want to be in the minority. I don't know about that, but yeah, I don't know. Brooke did not seem worried at all. I don't think she realized how close this thing actually was to flipping, but things are going to pop off. So Ming Lee checks in with Vanessa, and she says, Jamar is not voting for Mike to stay. Jamar is getting pretty close to Brooke. He wants to keep her around. And Jamar's also really close to Chris, so he's going to want to do what Chris wants. And Ming Lee also says Hira is also not voting for Michael to stay, which I think he would, but for some reason she thinks that he was lying. But I think he would vote for Michael to stay if the votes were there. So Ming Lee says Mike does not have the votes. But you know what? I still want to work with the remaining evictors to take out Kyle next week. So Ming Lee also discusses this with Jamar, and she says, I've been working on my relationship with Maddie, and I don't want to just lose that. So she says that she wants to build trust with Maddie by sharing with her that Mike does not have the votes. She wants to be straight up with her, be honest with her, and try and gain her trust. So Jamar's like, okay, that's a cool idea, but he advises her to wait until the vote gets closer. Maybe wait until, like, the day of the vote, like the morning of the vote, right before the vote. You know, just give her a little heads up, but don't do it so soon. You know, don't do it now and, like, cause this huge thing. So Ming Lee gives it a good 10 minutes or so before she talks to Michael and Jean-Luc. So she tells them, unfortunately, even if you did have my vote, I don't think that you would have the numbers to stay unless a miracle happens. Yikes! So then Ming Lee says, you should start some shit with Kyle right now. You know, just call a house meeting, tell everyone that Kyle is your target. And that might give you a chance to stay, because everybody has been thinking that Kyle should be the next target, but nobody wants to say it. So if you get up in front of everybody and say it, everybody's going to respect you, and maybe you'll be able to stay. Oh my God, look at this girl stirring up the drama. So after that conversation, Mike and Jean-Luc tell Maddie all about it, and they think that it's BS. They feel like people are being honest about their votes, and Michael does have the votes to stay. So, it was very questionable at the time. It seemed like he could have at the time, but then things really took a turn. But they do not want to do this whole house meeting thing right now. So then the feeds went down for a little bit. I believe it was a reward dinner for the competition that they had earlier in the day. And after the feeds came back, things really start falling apart for Michael. He and Maddie especially are trying to get names out of Ming Lee about who is lying about their vote, and she won't budge. She's not giving names, and she had a really smart reason for it. She's trying to get him to, like, freak out so that he will want to have this house meeting, because house meetings usually happen when people are pretty desperate, right? So she's trying to make him feel more and more desperate so that he will do this, because Ming Lee wants Kyle to be called out in front of everyone, because she wants him out. So, yeah, she's not giving them names. And then with the votes, Hira, Carol, and Angie are all backing off because Ming Lee's been going around saying, yeah, the votes for Michael just aren't there, so, you know, there's nothing we can do about it. So the votes could actually be there, but now they're hearing that they're not, so they're like, oh no, we can't flip our vote if all the other votes aren't there. Like, it doesn't make sense. So then Michael is also pissed because of something that happened with Suzanne. She was trying to comfort/encourage him. She told him to keep fighting. So then Suzanne goes and talks to Chris in the HOH room, and Mike is, like, eavesdropping on them. And he thought he heard Suzanne laughing about it, but I thought Suzanne was saying that she felt bad for Mike. So I don't know if that was a misunderstanding or if she did laugh and I missed something. I don't know. But, of course, this got back to Suzanne, so she was pissed, too. So now it's time for confrontation. It wasn't even about that. Suzanne was not involved in this at all. But Chris and Mike were in the kitchen area, and I think Chris asked Mike, like, how are you feeling? And I guess Mike was basically like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, how do you think I'm feeling? Because of you! So Mike starts questioning Chris's character, and, you know, for putting him up on the block and not warning him about it ahead of time. And Chris says, I wouldn't have made the decision unless there were others behind it. So Mike says, well, I would have appreciated a heads up. You know, yes, we are playing this game, but we're still human beings here. So then Kyle joins them, and he's like, oh, is everything okay in here, gentlemen? So Mike brings up Kyle swearing on his kids that he would vote for Mike to stay. And Kyle says, well, I've been hearing that you're dragging my name through the mud in your campaign. Oh, he has been. So things start getting heated, voices are rising, and Kyle says, I heard that you said I was talking shit about Carol behind her back. You were. And you're telling people to keep you around so that you can take me out. And he says, yeah, I can't vote for you. The votes are not there. Like you were ever going to vote for him anyway. But Mike keeps bringing up that he swore on his family that he would not vote Mike out. And Kyle keeps saying, yeah, but then you were talking crap about me and the votes aren't there, so I'm not voting to keep you. And Mike says, well, your word doesn't mean anything. That's right. So Kyle he just keeps saying, you don't have the votes, I can't vote for you. And it just makes me think of Hamilton with, you don't have the votes. Okay. So Mike, more talk of integrity. Dude, I get that you're upset, but it's BB. That's what this game's all about. So Mike is saying, and there's a lot of people, I just want to set the scene too. There's a lot of people around the kitchen listening. Pretty much everybody is there. Except for, I think there's like a few people missing, but one of the notable people that's missing, Ming Lee, who wanted this whole blow up to happen, she freaking set this up and then ran away, which is just hilarious. But anyway, where are we? Mike says that Kyle is just pulling at people's heartstrings and using that to manipulate them, and he's gonna run the house. So then Kyle's yelling, who put you on the block? Who put you on the block? And he's saying it over and over again, being like, it wasn't me who did this to you. It was Kyle. So come on, man. So then Mike spills that Vanessa came to him and said that she's not working with Kyle. So he's like throwing Vanessa under the bus too, and she was standing right there like getting some food together. She's like, come on, man. So Mike says he was rooting for Chris until Kyle told him that Chris threw out his and Sheldon's names as potential targets this week. So Kyle's like, season 8, learn how to play. I'm sorry that you got effed first. Right? So then they repeat more of the same stuff, and they're saying, oh, it's gonna make great TV. Sabrina, such an icon. So Brooke breaks this up, and she says, nothing more constructive is being said here, so you guys should just take a breather. You know, it's getting a little ugly. Let's just relax for a few minutes. So Brooke does not want this conversation to continue because she feels that she has the votes to stay this week, and she doesn't need that to change. So yeah, she breaks that crap up. So then it kind of like restarts a little bit because Maddie was asking what was just going on. So Kyle's explaining the argument to Maddie, and she's like, well, you did promise Michael that you wouldn't vote him out if he went up on the block, so what changed? And Kyle says, no one's voting to keep Mike. And then he says, boom, mind blown. Maddie's like, don't be rude. Like, you don't have to be rude about it. Which was kind of funny. So then Maddie and Michael continue to scold Kyle for using his family to pull on people's heartstrings and how he swore on his kids and then he went back on it and that's so dirty. And Kyle's like, I'm just playing the game, you know? I'm doing what I have to do to win for my family. Wow. Okay, so other stuff that happened last night. Chris and Maddie were chatting and she still wants to know, like, who lied to me? What's going on here? So Chris admits everyone other than the 4 knew about the plan to put up Michael this week, which is not really true because, to my knowledge, I'm pretty sure that Hira and Angie did not know about this. But I think he was kind of just generalizing because he didn't want to drop names by saying who didn't know, you know what I mean? So she's like, well, I don't know that I believe that because Ming Lee had such a strong reaction when she wasn't put up on the block. And Chris says, well, guess what? Ming Lee was the one who came up with the plan. What? So Maddie is disgusted that so many people lied to her, blah, 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 wah, wah, wah. Welcome to Big Brother. So then Maddie goes and talks to Ming Lee, and she's like, Chris said that you orchestrated this whole plan to get Michael on the block. So Ming Lee's like, no. So she goes and talks to Chris, and she's asking him about it, and Chris is like, what? He totally brushes it off. He's denying it, and he's like, no, I didn't say that you orchestrated it. So Ming Lee, I mean, this whole thing was calm, just so you know. Ming Lee was like, okay, I'm not worried about it. You know, I'm just letting you know what Maddie told me. All right, so I don't know what she actually believes, if she thinks that Chris is telling the truth or what. But today, lots of tears for Maddie. Lots of tears. Maddie and Michael continue to complain about people lying. And Maddie's like, I don't know how I'm going to play this game. Like, I'm not a fake person. Something tells me you got some fakeness in you, but I don't know. So it's not looking good for Michael at this point. I mean, last night for a while, it looked like he could actually really have a chance to stay. But then it just fell apart. He might try for one final push tonight, but I just don't see it flipping again. I don't know. I mean, crazy things have happened. You never know, but I don't think it's going to happen. So there's been a lot of talk of next week's target. I mean, all week in the past day or two especially, we've seen a lot of anti-Kyle sentiment building up. But that anti-Kyle club is simmering down now. People are saying it's too early to take him out. We need to keep him around as a shield. Like, as long as we know what he's doing, we don't need to take him out right now. Okay, and then, everybody outside of the four, well, not everybody, but a lot of people outside of the four are saying basically if they win HOH, they're going to probably put up John, Luke, and Maddie, and then if one of them wins the veto, put up Brienne as the replacement. How predictable. I think it would be kind of fun if somebody from the Evictors won HOH, just because, like, I really like to see all of those power shifts. But anyway, in other news, the Expedia Lounge, some stuff going on in there. This new, like, arrivals and departures board showed up, and everybody's been studying that today. And there's also a new room off of the Expedia Lounge, and it's all decorated like a beach. I think they're calling it the Maui room. And there's even, like, sand on the floor and, like, beach chairs and stuff. So that's fun. I don't know, maybe somebody's gonna win a trip or something. Who knows? But I guess the board in the Expedia Lounge is probably going to be used in the HOH competition, right? I think. But yeah, eviction day tomorrow. I think it's goodbye to Michael, but we'll see what happens. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and until next time, much love.